What if everything you believe about your limits is a lie? What if the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you want is one single realization? Most people will live their entire lives trapped inside a mental prison built from fear, excuses, and illusions. Not because they aren't capable, but because they never stopped long enough to challenge the story they've been telling themselves. They wait for permission. They wait for a perfect moment, and in the waiting, they waste everything. But you're not most people, because if you were, you wouldn't be here right now, searching for something more, fighting the battle no one sees, and trying to understand why the success, the freedom, the confidence you crave feels just out of reach. So here it is, the truth no one told you. The quality of your life is not determined by your conditions. It's determined by your decisions. You don't rise when everything is easy. You rise when you choose to act in spite of resistance. And the moment you finally understand that no one is coming to save you, that's when everything changes. You have been waiting too long to feel ready, but readiness is a myth. There is no right time, there is only now. Most people live in reaction, not in intention. They let the world push them around. They let failure define them. They take one loss and wear it like a name tag for the rest of their lives. But here's what you must understand. Failure is not an identity. Pain is not permanent, and fear is not a command. The people who create extraordinary results are not lucky. They are simply the ones who stop giving their energy to things they can't control. They stop blaming. They stop waiting. They stop making excuses, and they decide, once and for all, to lead their lives instead of follow them. They realize something you're about to realize right now. You are not your past. You are your potential. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become in spite of it. And the very moment you claim responsibility for everything in your life, not just the good, but the hard, the ugly, the unfair, that is the moment you regain the power to change it all. Your time is your life, and every minute you spend in doubt, in distraction, in self-pity, you're trading a piece of your destiny for comfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth, and growth is the currency of achievement. You weren't built for ease, you were built for strength, but strength only grows under pressure. Diamonds are formed in heat, steel is forged in fire. So why are you so afraid of being tested? The test is not the enemy. It is the path. The ones who rise are the ones who stop hoping the path gets easier, and instead get stronger. You can keep replaying your failures, your heartbreaks, your doubts. Or you can decide right now that the version of you who overcomes is more important than the version of you who was wounded. The shift happens when you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" Everything changes when you stop seeing your problems as punishments and start seeing them as preparations. That pain you're feeling, it's a signal not to quit, but to grow. You don't build confidence by wishing for it. You build it by keeping the promises you make to yourself when no one else is watching. You build belief not by having everything figured out, but by refusing to stop even when you don't. The people who succeed are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who made a decision and refused to let life talk them out of it. They show up when they're tired. They work when they're unsure. They stay consistent when no one's clapping. And most importantly, they understand this. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you commit to. The old version of you, the one that hesitated that second, guessed that feared failure, that version has already taken enough from you. Now it's your turn to take something back. Take back your vision. Take back your energy. Take back your power. Because the second you realize that nothing outside of you is stronger than what's inside of you, that's when the game changes. You've waited long enough. You've questioned yourself long enough. You've shrunk your potential to fit the expectations of people who gave up on theirs. But today, you break the cycle, not by shouting louder, not by pretending to be something you're not, but by making a quiet, unwavering decision. I will not live one more day beneath my potential. The world will test you, Life will hit you, people will doubt you, but none of it matters until you start doubting yourself. So stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Be the one who does. Because once you truly believe in yourself, deeply, fully, unapologetically, everything changes. Absolutely, here's the continuation of the motivational script for your topic, Everything Changes When You Realize This. Written in the same intense, driven, and emotionally powerful tone. It follows seamlessly from the first 1,000 plus words and dives deeper into mental transformation and identity shift. You've been living under the illusion that something outside of you needs to shift first. That if your circumstances changed, if your environment improved, if people supported you, then you could finally become the version of yourself you imagine when no one's around. But here's the truth. External change follows internal decision. You don't rise by waiting on the world. You rise by rebuilding your inner world so powerfully that the outer one has no choice but to reflect it. And that means killing off the lies you've been told and the ones you've told yourself. The lie that you're too late, the lie that your past defines you, the lie that your dream is too big for someone like you. It is time to bury that version of you that thought playing small was safe. Safety doesn't exist in stagnation. It exists in motion, in momentum, in the kind of self-belief that's so deep, so relentless, so convicted, that even your failures begin to fear you because you are no longer operating from reaction. You are choosing to act, to lead, to move, not based on feelings, but based on identity. And when your identity shifts, everything does. When you begin to see yourself as a finisher, not a starter, as a leader, not a follower, as a fighter, not a victim, as someone who was built for impact, not survival, then suddenly the struggle no longer breaks you, it shapes you. Suddenly that pain becomes a teacher, not a curse. Suddenly, the days that once defeated you become the ones that refine you. Because now you realize something that most people never do. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. The people who wait for motivation will always be at the mercy of their mood. But the ones who understand this truth, they move anyway. They show up because they know every action is a vote for the future they're building. They do the work no one applauds, and they fight battles no one sees, because they understand this one sacred rule. Success isn't what you get. It's what you become. That's why it feels hard. That's why it hurts, because you're being carved into something greater. Comfort won't get you there. Approval won't get you there. Even talent won't get you there. What will get you there is the unshakable realization that your next level requires your next mindset, and the old one can't come with you. So let go. Let go of the need to prove yourself. Let go of the shame from your last failure. Let go of the voices in your head that tell you to stop. Let go of the version of yourself who lived for permission, and instead step fully, ruthlessly, into the version of you who moves from purpose. The one who no longer needs someone to tell them they're enough. The one who doesn't wait for a break. They become the break. You've had the power this whole time, but now it's time to claim it. You don't do that with words. You do that with action, tiny, quiet, disciplined action that most people overlook. You do that every time you show up for your goals when no one's watching. Every time you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you wake up and fight through the noise inside your own head, because those tiny wins are not small, they are stacking, they are building, they are creating the foundation that your future self will stand on. And the moment you start stacking those wins, not just once, but every single day, you become undeniable, not because the world said so, but because you did. Let this be the turning point. The moment you stopped looking for answers in the world and started realizing the answer has always lived inside you. You don't need more time, you need more courage. You don't need more chances, you need more decisions. And you don't need anyone else's permission to rise, just your own, because everything changes when you realize this. You are not chasing success, you are becoming it. Success isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you become, and becoming isn't passive, it's painful, it's uncomfortable, it requires sacrifice, but that's the cost of transformation. The truth is, there will be days when everything in you wants to stop. When the voices in your head whisper that it's too late, that you've failed too many times, that it's safer to shrink than to stretch. But those voices aren't reality, they are resistance. And resistance only shows up when you're getting closer to something real. The fear you feel, that's proof you're not standing still. The discomfort in your chest, that's growth stretching your identity. You don't become stronger by avoiding the hard things. You become stronger by meeting them again and again until they become normal. Because when you lean into discipline, when you step into discomfort, when you walk straight into the fire instead of around it, that's when you begin to understand your true strength. You were not made for survival. You were made for mastery, but mastery doesn't come to the most gifted. It comes to the most consistent, the ones who show up whether they feel like it or not, the ones who build daily habits out of things others call impossible. Your future isn't determined by your feelings. It's determined by your patterns. And the moment you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting from who you want to become, everything begins to shift. Not because the world changed, but because you did. That's the real secret no one tells you. That the breakthrough you've been chasing doesn't come from doing more. It comes from becoming more. And becoming more starts the moment you decide to stop playing the old game. You know the one, the game where you pretend to be less than you are, where you stay quiet when you want to speak, where you make yourself small because you're afraid of standing out, where you abandon your goals because they feel heavy and no one claps when you make progress. But here's what you need to understand now. Progress is your permission. Every step you take, no matter how small, proves that you are capable of more, and more doesn't come all at once. It comes through relentless repetition, through every single moment you choose purpose over pressure. So forget the finish line. Fall in love with the process, the grind, the growth, the becoming. Because when you finally shift from chasing outcomes to chasing evolution, the world will have no choice but to notice. You don't have to scream, you don't have to prove, you just have to keep building, quietly, powerfully, unapologetically. Every time you rise when you could have stayed down. Every time you act with courage when comfort was an option. Every time you show up when no one would have blamed you for quitting. You're not just changing your day, you're changing your future. You're creating a version of yourself that becomes impossible to ignore. Not just to others, but to yourself. And when you meet that version, when you look in the mirror and finally see the person you knew you could be all along, it won't be because you had the easiest path. It will be because you chose not to run. You didn't fold, you didn't hide, you stayed, you worked, you endured, and through that endurance you discovered the rarest kind of power, the kind that can't be handed to you, the kind that can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. You earned it, and from that moment forward, nothing will ever be the same, because once you see yourself as powerful, you stop asking the world to confirm it. You stop seeking external approval. You stop negotiating with fear. And you start leading, living, creating. You stop waiting for the right opportunity, and you start becoming the one who creates them. Because everything changes, not when your life gets easier, but when your mind gets stronger. Every day you wake up, you are offered the same choice, to continue being who you've been or to start becoming who you were meant to be. And that choice, it's never made in the loud moments. It's made in silence, in that quiet war between who you are and who you could be. You are not here by accident. The pain, the setbacks, the struggles, they aren't random punishments. They're preparation. You're being trained, sharpened, molded, but most people never see it because they're too focused on what's missing instead of what's being built. This world is not waiting to hand you a crown. It's waiting to see if you'll fight for it, if you'll rise for it, if you'll stand up one more time than you fall. The ones who win are not the ones with the perfect plan. They're not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who made a decision, and then made that decision again and again every time life tried to take it from them. You've been taught that confidence is something you feel. But confidence is something you earn. You earn it by doing the things you said you would do. You earn it by honoring the voice inside that says, I know I can do more. You want to feel better. Start acting better. Start becoming the kind of person you respect. Start doing the hard things no one applauds, because every one of those choices becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-worth. Your dreams aren't waiting on motivation. They're waiting on commitment. The kind of commitment that outlasts mood swings, that doesn't check the weather before it trains, that doesn't need validation to keep building. Most people will live the same year over and over again and call it a life. But not you, not anymore, because you are beginning to realize that growth isn't a gift. It's a demand, and it demands that you leave behind everything that no longer serves who you're becoming. That includes excuses. That includes blame. That includes the old identity that finds comfort in struggle and calls it loyalty. You are not loyal to your limits. You are loyal to your calling. You want change, then change. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, this moment, this decision, this breath. This is the ground zero of transformation, where you stop negotiating with weakness and start forging a new identity from fire. Every time you say this is hard and do it anyway, you're becoming. Every time you say I'm tired and still show up, you're becoming. Every time you feel fear and move forward, you're becoming. Not everyone will see it. Not everyone will support it. But that's not their job, it's yours, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you free yourself from the prison of waiting for permission. You don't need the world to understand you. You need to understand yourself, because when you do, you stop asking if you're good enough, and start showing the world that question was never yours to answer. This isn't just about mindset, this is about identity. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you believe you are worthy of. So stop shrinking your vision to fit your self-image, expand your self-image to match the magnitude of your calling. The best version of you isn't found. It's forged, it's built in the discipline no one claps for, in the sacrifice no one sees, in the daily choice to become undeniable. So burn the plan B, walk away from the exit. Because the second you give yourself an out, you've already given yourself an excuse. You say you're tired of starting over, then stop quitting. You say you want change, then stop waiting. You say you're ready, then prove it. Prove it with your consistency, with your effort, with your refusal to let the past dictate your future. Because you are not your failures, you are not your mistakes, you are not what they said you were. You are the author of what comes next, and the pen is in your hand. This isn't just about motivation. This is about identity transformation. This is about stepping into the life that was always meant for you, not when it's convenient, but now, especially now, because nothing grows in comfort, nothing changes in safety. Everything you want is on the other side of discipline, focus, and relentless self-respect. So the next time you doubt, remember this: you don't need more time, you need more decisions, you don't need a sign. You need action, you don't need a map. You need motion, and once you choose to move, everything changes, because the moment you act like you belong at the top, the universe starts to clear a path, not because it owes you anything, but because you finally started acting like you do. Nobody becomes great by avoiding discomfort. No legend was born in ease. The champions, the innovators, the icons we admire, they were all forged in moments where most people would have quit. It is in struggle that you meet yourself. It is in resistance that you find out what you're really made of. And it is in persistence that you unlock the future you've been dreaming about. You are not being punished by life. You are being prepared. Every obstacle has been a lesson. Every detour has been a redirection. Every delay has been a test, not of your worth, but of your will. Because success doesn't ask, are you talented? It asks, will you keep showing up? That's the hard truth most people never want to hear. They want it fast, they want it easy, they want it guaranteed, but growth is never guaranteed. It must be earned, day by day, choice by choice, sacrifice by sacrifice. You see, there is no cheat code for transformation. You don't become great by watching others. You don't get strong by avoiding resistance. You grow when you decide, I will no longer settle for the version of me that plays small. There will be days when motivation disappears, days when you feel invisible, days when your dreams feel too far away. But those are the days that define you, because anyone can keep going when it's easy. But only the committed keep going when it's brutal. That's the difference. You are not chasing success. You are becoming success, not with perfection, not with luck, but with resilience, grit, and a fire that refuses to go out, no matter how dark the night becomes. Start seeing yourself as more than what's happened to you. You are not your failure. You are not your mistake. You are not the person you used to be. You are what you decide to do next. You are what you decide to believe in this moment. Do not waste time comparing your path to others. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the path to greatness is not a straight line. It is a battlefield, a laboratory, a place where pressure creates diamonds and fire refines gold. And right now, even if you don't see it, you're being shaped into something unshakable. You want power, then stop waiting for permission. You want purpose, then stop looking for comfort. The most dangerous lie you can believe is that you need more time before you start, that you need more confidence, more approval, more resources. No, what you need is courage. The kind that acts even while afraid, the kind that begins even when the path is unclear. Because clarity doesn't come before the decision, it comes after. There are no shortcuts here. Just small, consistent steps taken daily. Just raw, unfiltered belief in something bigger than your current reality. And that belief, it has to be unshakable. Even when the world shakes you, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you your dream. That might sound harsh, but it's liberating. Because once you realize it's all up to you, you get your power back. And when you reclaim that power, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the architect of your future. So what will you build? A life of waiting, or a life of action, a life of safety, or a life of significance? This isn't about ego, it's about mission. Your life is bigger than the opinions of others. Your potential is more sacred than the fears you keep feeding. And your time, it's too valuable to waste another day playing small. Look around. The world doesn't need more people chasing likes and followers. It needs people on fire with purpose, people willing to do the work in silence, people who turn pain into power and discipline into destiny. That can be you, if you choose. This is not the end of your story. This is the chapter where everything starts to shift. The moment you rise with your full strength. The moment you start becoming the kind of person who doesn't need external validation to feel valuable. You want freedom, then become obsessed with growth. You want peace, then get honest with yourself. The most powerful transformation doesn't begin with changing your job, your location, or your followers. It begins with changing your standards. What will you no longer tolerate? What beliefs are you willing to let die so a better version of you can live? You are not too late. You are right on time for a reinvention. You are ready because deep down you already know this. You were never meant to live an average life. Now it's time to act like it.